Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking 102.53 Pumpkin Flats. These flat pumpkin pendants are perfect for gift giving and holiday sales. And I'm also using the cut-off spoon here. This has become one of my favorite tools lately. If you have a spoon and a way to cut it off so you have this nice curve, it's perfect for using in this pumpkin. So I hope you all enjoy this demonstration and give it a try. This is a fun pendant to make. And with that said, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. All right, the first thing we're going to do is pull out a couple of thick canes. And the first one I'm going to do here, I have two browns, and I'm going to mix these together and pull out, it's two browns and a silver. I'm going to pull out a thick cane for the stump of the pumpkin. So I have a brown light that I'm adding a brown rock to. And I'm just adding it wherever I want to, a couple of stripes here and there, just to thicken it up. And then I'll add a little bit of this effetry silver. It's either silver 1 or silver 2. They only have one type of silver rod that they sell, and that is it. And it has a really interesting effect with one of the browns, and it kind of turns a greenish color. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, so I've gotten all my colors together, rounding it out. And now I want to punty it up with a, you could use a glass rod if you want to, but I like to use a stainless steel punty, and it just really helps. So I'm just barely tugging on this, trying to keep it nice and thick. It's a very short but thick rod or cane. And just pull that end off. And now we'll make the next cane, which is going to be for the leaves. And I like to kind of mix my colors up here so it doesn't look like a flat color. And I'm adding a pea green, building that up a little bit. And then we'll add this green number 216. I don't know if it's a dark green or petroleum green, but I'm just going to add a little bit on top of the pea green. And then heat up a punty. And I do want to just round it out a little bit. It's so much easier to pull out a thick cane or anything really, with a nice rounded end, so I know exactly where I need to punty it up as well. And on this one, I want to add 2 punties to pull it out. I didn't have to, but that's just the way it worked out. And this one got a little thin on the edges, so I had to wait a few seconds to pull it out. A little heat in the center, and again, a nice thick cane. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not going to be using this a lot. This whole piece took about a half an hour, maybe 35 minutes with the cane made as well. So let's start this out with the top part of the pumpkin. This is going to be the stump. And I like to make my stump on a mandrel. So I'm just going to build up a small 2-layer bead with my any brown color. I'm using the brown rock. And I'm going to flatten it out just on 2 sides. And then I will go ahead and take the brown cane that I made and add a bit of just kind of a little bit to the top side. And then I'll go ahead and add a little bit more of this cane and wrap it around the rest of the bead. And this will be, I'll shape this up, but this will be just the top part of the stump. And I'll round this out and shape it up again. It kind of looks like a tooth. It's got a kind of a flat top and a pointy bottom. And then when I'm done with this, I will put it in my annealer, which is running at 1,000 degrees. And I'll put it right at the front so my mandrel doesn't get real hot. One side will get hot, obviously. I'll dip that in water before I attach it so it doesn't burn my fingers. So I'm going to let that sit in the annealer until I'm ready to use it. And now let's start our pumpkin. And I have a couple of different colors. I always like to make my pumpkins 3 colors. And I'm going to start out with this one color called L'Orange. 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 And I'm just going to build this color up and get a base going for the pumpkin. And I am using a 1/4 inch mandrel as my punty for this. I'll shape that up a little bit in the marble mold, and then I'll move on to the next color, which is, I believe it's called Halloween. You can use any colors that you want. Sometimes they don't have the colors in stock, so you may have to switch up colors a little bit. And I'm just going to add this to 2 sides and build it up a little bit more. And then my final color is Papaya, I believe. So the mixture of these 3 colors looks really nice. In the end, the final pictures, it's pretty bright orange. And I'm just going to wrap this around the top a little bit. And then I thought I would take my base color, the L'Orange again, and just kind of do a little fun spiraling, around there on both sides. Just kind of play around with the color, mix it up a little bit. That looks good. Okay, so I have a nice amount here ready to go. Now I want to heat this up and get it nice and hot and roll it in the marble mold. I want to get my shape going. I'll press that top down just a little bit and then start to roll it in the mold just a little bit to push that heat in and get it hotter and hotter as I go. I think that building up this pumpkin really takes the longest amount of time for this whole pendant, but you want it to look really nice when you press it down. All right, so we kind of have our football shape going here. And what I want to do is make sure that the punty is not very deep at all into the glass, and just kind of bevel that bottom edge a little bit. Now I'm going to heat everything up and round it out a little bit in the flame. I'm just getting things ready here so I can flatten it out. And now I'll very gently start to press. Turn it over and press a little bit more until I like the shape that I have. What is attached to the mandrel is going to be the top part of the pumpkin. So I'll flatten it a little bit more. And now we're going to go ahead and put in our pumpkin bevels. I don't know, indentations. So I'm going to use my spoon here. And I will start heating up the pumpkin just where I want to press it down. And then I'll move over to the marver and press down, starting at the center top of the pumpkin and working my way down to the bottom. And then I'll flip my spoon around so I have the curve facing both sides. A little bit more heat, and I'll just press in a few more times on both sides. It's important that you do the curve facing each other because then it makes the pumpkin look rounder. It's just a cartoon that we're making here basically, and it's flat, but you still want it to retain its 3-dimensional form. So now we're going to do the opposite side. Remember that you want to keep a little bit of heat on the back side so your pendant doesn't crack. A few more times here. This spoon, I'm telling you, is just perfect. If you don't have a spoon, I hope you have some kind of curved, sharp edge that you can put in for these lines here. And there is our pumpkin right there. The lines are finished. And I just want to spend a second to flatten the bottom just a little bit. And now I will go ahead and put a punty into the bottom just slightly, just enough to hold the pumpkin on there. You don't want to embed the punty into the glass. And while that's cooling, you'll take the top end off by just heating up the mandrel, not really so much the glass. And then we have this pumpkin here. Let's go ahead and add our leaves. And I'm just getting a nice gather of that second cane that we made hot. And I'm just going to do this real simple. I'm just going to add it like a dot and then gently in the flame pull away at the tip and just pull it down and out. And there is one simple leaf. You can put an indentation in it if you want to, or put some vines on it. But this is all I'm going to do here, just nice and simple. Make sure everything is nice and happy in the heat as you're working. And now I'm just going to switch hands so my left hand can grab the stump of the mandrel and then dip it in water on the right side. And now I'm just going to start heating everything a little bit on the tips where they're going to touch. And then we'll bring it down here in the heat. I'll add a little extra heat to the areas that I want to touch and then just press them together. Straighten things up. As it's cooling, you will take the bottom punty out, and I'm really just heating up the mandrel, and it will heat up the glass, which will allow the mandrel to come out. And this is pretty much it. I'm just going to spend a few seconds to tweak the stump a little bit with my little tungsten pick here. And this is all, personal preference in the end. I mean, the whole thing is personal preference, however you want to make it. And here at the very, very end, I just want to straighten it up, make sure it looks good on the little stump on the top. And that is our pumpkin flat. I hope you all enjoy this one. It's so much fun to make these. And I will see you next time in the dungeon.